I'm Rachel Smolkin with Politico. It's time now to turn the table with CNN's Candy Crowley. Candy, we have a story on our site up now about Anthony Weiner called Why Weiner Won't Win. What is your take on all the events of this week and his chances at this point?
I don't think his chances were that great to begin with. I know that he was, ahead in these polls, but he's in a big field. He's the guy with name recognition, for better or for worse. There's some new polling out now showing that he's dropped to second, but even that, I don't believe it's July. This primary is going to take place in mid-September. I don't think most people in New York are paying that much attention. And I think the other thing is, obviously if there were any people sitting on the fence, this probably drove them the other direction. So if you start out a race where half of the folks won't even look at you, and there are 4 or 5 others in the race, that is a huge disadvantage. He has made his disadvantages bigger, but I thought his disadvantages were enough that he wasn't going to win. What may happen, perhaps he might have made it into a runoff. I think perhaps he has lessened his chances of making it into a runoff.
And that's exactly what the story on our site argues. So perfect agreement there. What did you? Yeah, exactly. With unanimity there. What about Huma's role this week? Huma Abedin, his wife, very striking moment for her at that news conference.
It is. And obviously, nothing was revealed that she didn't know. One of the things I learned a long time ago was people's marriages are their marriages. She's not the politician. She's the wife. Is she politically astute? She is. I know nothing about what she wants in the future, but I do know that marriages and what makes them tick are up to those two individuals. So I tend to sort of steer away from the spouse, be it the male or the female.
Right, and she stepped into the spotlight and I think got assessed in a different way, but you make an interesting point, and when we heard from Jenny Sanford this week as well, that each spouse makes her own choice in these kinds of situations.
Different people, different aspirations, there's a baby involved here. I mean, that affects certainly how you look at it, but I have no idea what affected her choices. I just know they were, I sort of feel like we all ought to step back and say, you make your choice.
Absolutely. The other story we've been watching this week is President Obama's economic speech. There was a lot of lead up to the White House from that speech, a big moment. They were telling us we didn't hear a lot new from that speech. Again, give me your assessment of that moment.
I didn't hear a lot new either. In fact, I heard sort of echoes of campaign speeches dating back to 2008 and the whole emphasis on the middle class. I think the president's doing a couple of things. I think, first of all, his poll numbers have been down, and he is now ready to do great battle come September and October over budgets and debt ceilings, and he needs to boost that up to kind of get folks behind him. I don't know how successful this will be, because in the end, the folks who are opposing him, and by and large, it's a set of House Republicans, although obviously the Senate has its own set of troubles. But a speech by the president, which essentially attacks them, is probably not the best way to get them to kind of sit down at the table and reason together. Maybe they wouldn't reason together anyway, but I think this is the president rallying the people who already believe what he believes, because he knows he's in for a big fight this fall, as we always are, over budgets and such.
There was a bit of a distraction if you were watching his speech on the television, cable news, of course, all over the naming of the royal baby, which takes me to our feature question of the week. What did you think about the royal baby coverage? Excess or just about right?
Okay, here's my secret of the week. Mondays and Tuesdays are my day off, and I was absolutely dreading the idea that baby would be born during the Sunday show. I was so relieved when we got off the air on Sunday that I didn't have to figure out like how the placard went from here to there and all that kind of stuff. Hey, congratulations to them, but I wasn't watching the coverage when it happened. I was actually playing with the babies in our family. So I've seen it since. I think, Americans are interested because it's royalty. We don't have anything like it. In fact, that's why we left. But it's interesting. They're young, etc. There's always sort of, some intrigue to it. But as I say, I was playing with the baby's Crowley.
Well, excellent. And on that playful note, thank you very much. That's all for this week's edition of Turn the Table. you.